Koehler, Sherri Koehler, and this is the first time I've been using the, well, not the first time I used the Go Live, but a scheduled Go Live, so I'm running a little behind the top of the hour because I couldn't quite remember the steps to go live on a scheduled one, not just starting. So, welcome. Get my clock turned on here. So I have two mats set up and a chair standing by for doing a little standing practice today. We'll start though, you could be supine, right, lying down on the mat with some support. You could be seated in your chair. Those are the two I recommend. You could be seated on the floor with some support underneath you if that is comfortable. And do just a little guided meditation to start this practice together. See me move back and forth. I have this running on my screen on my laptop back here, so I can check in if there's anything in the chat. I'm going to wait for a very important co-teacher to join us. Here we go. This is our 11-year-old English bulldog over here. He has his own bed in the yoga room, as he should. All right, now I feel like everybody's here and we are ready. I'm trying out these live Thursdays. They will not always be a format. I have one called Yoga for Vitality, which is a chair-assisted Hatha yoga that focuses on strength and balance and flexibility, but on through a lens that is safe for older adults, particularly older adults who may have osteopenia or osteoporosis. I myself actually have osteoporosis at 56. It is related to my having the hypermobile variant of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And yes, you can do yoga with this condition. You just have to be mindful. And the type of approach I use in teaching yoga really is meant for folks who are older or living with chronic health conditions. So it's pretty safe. And I remind you a lot to be really mindful of your body, your joints, where your body wants to be, and that we don't challenge ourselves too much and risk injury or overdoing it and suffering fatigue for a few days. Right? So I'm going to be bringing these Thursday live classes. Sometimes they will also be a all seated in the chair yoga class. I do regular classes Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You can join my newsletter and get a schedule of my online classes. I also do this private yoga with a chair, Yoga for Vitality, on Tuesday mornings, Pacific time in the U.S., that you can join by joining my newsletter. You can find that link in my profile. But let's get comfortable here, right? Seated or supine. I was promising you a little guided meditation, and then I could hear our old dog slowly making his way down the hall. So we just waited a moment. So you see me doing a couple little, I'm adjusting my body, I'm adjusting my clothing, anything that doesn't feel super comfortable. Right? I'm just making sure nothing's going to distract me. And if I'm feeling very sleepy or I'm feeling really agitated, I'm going to keep my eyes open for a guided meditation. You'll hear yoga teachers say, just soften your gaze. What that means is to just kind of look out in front of you a couple of feet and don't focus on anything in particular. That's what soften your gaze means. We don't close our eyes if we're sleepy for meditation because we'll fall asleep. We don't close our eyes if we're feeling really agitated, very anxious, very frustrated. If we're meditating, because it just lets that kind of agitation ramp up a little faster. But if you're like, I'm neither sleepy nor agitated, I'll close my eyes. And you might notice I'm starting to deepen my breath, but in the window of what feels okay to my body right now. The first thing I'm noticing is the sensation of the breath. What is that? There's no wrong answer. And then I'll find the faintest sensation of my breath. So I might listen for the sound of it, or right on the inner edge of your nostrils, right there, you can note how when you inhale, especially if it's winter where you're at, it's usually cool. And as you exhale, you notice that that air moving out of your body, that exhalation is warmer. And if you haven't yet let your breath deepen, do that now. Feel it moving the body. All the way in, all the way out. And as we move to this deeper breath together, what is the biggest felt sensation of your breath? So we move from first to faintest to the biggest felt sensation of our own breath. And we do this little tripod of awareness. And when we've done that, we usually are here in the present moment, and we get reconnected with the self of wisdom, Jnana Maya Kosha. And the self of wisdom is a non-judging, curious part of ourselves that is always there. We just kind of forget that we can use that. We use this non-judging self, and let's take in a breath together. And as we breathe this breath out, we're checking in with the physical body, Annamaya Kosha, right? How is your body feeling? What information, whether it is not good, right? Maybe something aches a little bit, my knee, whether it is good, right? Or neutral, right? Feel your earlobes. Those earlobes are usually pretty neutral. And then we take in a breath that feels deep. And as we breathe this next one out, we check in with the energetic self, Pranamaya Kosha. And that energetic self, first and foremost, what is your energy level? Right? How much fuel is in your metaphorical tank in this moment? These are not judgment calls, right? We're just assessing. It is also, in a very yoga way, it is our embodied system of chakras, and in a very real way, our embodied nervous system, right? Our big precious skull brain up here and all the big nerves down to the tiniest little dendrites. How is that self of energy? All right, take in one more big breath. Then as you let this one out, check in with the body of the heart mind, right? Manamaya Kosha. So this is the thinking, feeling self. This is the self that thinks, I am having an experience. Right? And note here, not good things, self-judgment, boredom, right? Anxiety, frustration, neutral things. It is a Thursday in February. Pretty neutral. And then any good things, right? Curiosity, hope, gratitude. I have power and network connectivity and food and clean water. And this very morning, people that are coming and taking all the trash and recycling and compost away from our home. Those are really good things to be grateful for. And then we're going to to come back to just noticing our breath. One more moment here. And then I'm going to take my long jacket off here and set that to the side. And someone asked, yeah, I do. I actually, for this practice, because I'm going to be standing, I am barefoot. I do, though, someone asked about that. I'm just not going to assume for what reasons. I do often wear a lightweight trainers, sneakers for yoga that I have just for yoga or doing like functional strength training. Right, they're my indoor sneakers. But today, we're going to be doing some standing movement in a moment. So I've got bare feet. Right where you're at, whether you decided to lay down for that meditation or you're seated, we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up and out, right? Exhale, bring them down. Let your face follow, especially if you're seated, right? Inhale, face turns up. Exhale, face turns down. One more like that. And face turns down, right? Bring the face up to neutral, reach out to the sides. Twist a little over to the right side. So if we're seated, the torso's twisting. If you're supine on the floor, let your knees hug in and drop them to the right. We're all going to let our face turn a little to the left. And I crossed my left hand all the way over to my right leg. It could also just rest here on the left leg. I'm going to inhale, come out of that, reach up. And as I reach up, I'm going to reach back a little bit, lift my chest a little bit. Right? And as I exhale, you don't have to do that little spin in your chair. That's just for the camera. We're going to twist to the left. So again, I move my torso because I'm seated on a chair. But you could hug knees in and drop them left if you're supine. And then we're all going to let our face turn towards the right shoulder. Little pause here. Now, let your face unwind, your body unwind. Make this tall mountain. If we're seated, right, we're lifting the chest a little, lifting the face. Right? And then let that release. And give that a little shake. We're going to come up to standing. Today's practice is going to be seated, standing, and supine. The chair, so you might notice I use a big T of yoga mats when I'm teaching. I've got two mats together there. And so what I'm going to recommend is that you take this chair along the long side of your mat, right? And you can see I always rest the 2 feet of the chair, at least 2 feet of the chair on the mat, because when I do, it doesn't really slide much if I lean into it. So if I want that chair for some support, it's going to be there, handy. To start with, we're going to do just a little bit of dynamic movement to start with standing movements. And you can see I leaned over on my left leg and I came up onto the outer edge of my right foot. I'm going to do that both directions. And this just circles through all the joints from the foot to the hip. And then you might have a little support here for this. You're going to turn those toes over, lightly press them down. Right? And then that. And then take that foot back a little bit, stretching through the top of the foot. And then we slowly drag that foot forward, right? Give that whole leg a little shake. And then you're going to lean over onto the right leg. And same thing, I'm going through the outer edge of my left foot. I've went a few times one way. I'm going to start going the other way. Come up onto the toes, and then I roll over them, lightly stretching the front of the foot. And then taking that back, getting a little more stretch there for the top of the foot and the ankle. Okay. And then I drag that forward, give a little shake. And then I'm going to stand, right, kind of shoulder width apart. You could stand at the outer edges of your mat. This is definitely a time when the mat could be useful, or wearing sneakers because we don't want to slide in this practice. And I'm just going to start moving my hips from side to side. I got a little bit of bend in my knees, and I'm going to start to deepen that bend, right? Both in the knees and the hips. Okay. Then start to do, it's like a hula hoop, only it's not going to fall down. And if you'll note, I start to roll around the outer edges of both feet at the same time. And then bring the arms out for a little support. Now, go the other direction. And you could have the feet stay planted and not do the extra roll around the feet. That's kind of a little adventure option there. All right, so we're making our way up from the feet. We're kind of now up to the hips. Okay, let the hips stay where they're at. Legs stay really solid. Start to bend at your waist. And we're bending, right, as much as we can from the top and the waist. Now, add the hips as well. Okay, and you can see I'm starting to draw one arm up. Now we're going to use the full curve of the hips, right? Shoulders go one way, hips go the other way, because our spine makes this beautiful S curve. So we're going to get that S curve going. All right. And then let the arms just start to swing a little side to side. And if it feels good, look how I come up onto the toes of the, so I'm swinging right, I'm on the left toes. Swinging left, I'm on the right toes. Now we're going to do a kind of a sibling movement to that. I'm going to actually scoot that chair out of the way. Make sure you cannot run into it because you're going to let your arms just swing and move a little side to side. And as I go right, there goes that I'm up on the left toes. It's similar to that swinging arm we were just doing with the side to side movement. Okay, and then let that come in, give everything a little shake. So we're making our way slowly through the whole spine and all of the 9 movements the spine makes. The first one, right, is to stand really tall. That's the most essential movement. We're going to do a little extension. So I roll the thumbs back. I'm gently squeezing the shoulders together, pulling my tailbone down and lifting my chest and my face. Okay, then turn the thumbs in. I'm in a mountain pose. I keep turning them in. I tuck shoulders and head down. Right, just a little bit of that flexion. Inhale, I'm going to expand through the front body. Exhale, I'm going to expand through the back. Inhale, expanding front. Turn. Right, exhale, expanding into the back. We're keeping that flexion just at the very top of the spine there, just in case, right? Your spine doesn't handle loaded flexion very well. That's a forward fold, right? So we're going to keep our back really long and supported for any of our forward folds in case any of you watching have osteopenia, osteoporosis in your spine. We want to avoid putting any pressure, right? When we do a forward fold, this is what our vertebrae do. They crunch together. And if those vertebrae are fragile, right, they can cause a compression fracture. I'm going to slide this back now. We're going to do just a little bit of movement for the neck, and then we're going to start a couple of flows, okay? But, we're going to just tilt our right ear over to the right shoulder, and your left hand gently open and close, right, that left hand. Relax through the right shoulder. Now, with your left hand, just relax, right arm too. Begin to slowly, slowly turn your face towards the right. So you are looking, your face is turned over that right shoulder towards the horizon. Check arms are relaxed. You might open and close the left hand a few times. Okay. Now tuck your chin down towards your collarbone so your face turns towards the earth. Again, another little pause. We might open and close the left hand. And then we're going to let that left hand relax. Follow the collarbone, tuck the chin to the neck. And then inhale, let the head come up. And afterwards, do a couple of these big, giant double backstrokes there. Maybe get a little shake. I personally like a little no after that series. And then I'm standing up tall. And I take my face back to neutral. And particularly when I have the camera on, right? We all tend to do this and look towards our devices. So when you do your mountain pose, really check. Have I brought my head to neutral? Then, arms relaxed. I'm squeezing my left ear to left shoulder. Just that for a moment. And in this moment, I'm assessing, would doing anything with my right arm be interesting? And I start to do that open and close. I'm doing it much more slowly on this side, right? Because it is very different. Okay, now I'm going to let both arms relax and begin to turn my face slowly to turn to the left. So I'm looking towards the left horizon. My face turned out that over the left shoulder. And I relax the arms, and maybe I do that open and close with the right hand again. A little bit. Okay, right arm relaxes. Chin tucks down towards the collarbone. So now I'm facing the earth. And then let your right arm and left arm relax. Draw your chin along the collarbone. Tucking it towards the neck. Feel yourself get long through the rest of the spine. Chin still tucked down. And now roll the head up. And actually, instead of both of them together, do a backstroke, right? Each shoulder, and you can see there's even some side bend a little happening there. Okay. Shake that out if it feels good. Maybe a little no will feel good. Then, right, we got chair along the side of the mat. Come up till you can see I'm just actually slightly in front of my chair. I'm going to bring the hands to the heart center. We're going to move through a flow that my teacher calls a warrior dance. So we get through all of those warrior poses and a few friends along the way. All right, so look how I lean this mountain pose towards the left leg. And that's so I can step back onto the right leg. Now, chair is there if I feel wobbly. What I do the first time I do these warrior poses or any kind of lunge is do this in and out a few times. Right, till I find, that's the just right amount of knee bend. And when I find that, right, I'm gonna move from my right hip, bring it forward, push from that right foot, then the arms come up. Okay. Now, I'm standing because I've been doing this pose for many years now, like I'm on a balance beam, but you can take your feet a little wider apart, and this will feel a little less wobbly, this warrior one shape. Now, we're gonna turn to the right, and as we do, we stretch it out and the arms come down. This is usually what's called a warrior two. I can say I'm actually making this a little wider, right? Sometimes that can feel good. Really settling into the feeling of strength here, reaching through the feet, reaching out through the fingers. We're going to turn those left fingers up, left hand up, and next inhale, I'm going to slowly sweep that up and overhead. And if I feel a wobble, I'm going to grab that chair there with my hand. Otherwise, right hand's going to reach down towards the floor. And next inhale, come back up. Exhale, you're settling into your strength. Now, here's a near friend of the warrior poses. I'm going to pull my left hip back, lengthen my left leg, reach out to the left and dip down. Now I'm in a triangle shape. Little pause there in triangle. Check that out with your body. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out, let that left knee start to bend. Left hand or left forearm is going to drop there on the left thigh. Okay? And then I bring that right arm up, 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 and over it. It reaches to the left, so I end up at a side angle. Reach your both right foot and right hand. Push out of that left arm so your chest stays turned to the right. And now we're going to pull back with the right arm, and with an inhale, come up back to our friend warrior two. Go ahead, breathe out. Settle yourself into this. And then as your next inhale comes around, look at how that back foot comes up and it steps around to turn me forward into a warrior one again. I'm going to breathe in, and as I do, I'm going to reach back, lift my chest, lift my face a little bit. That's a big balance ask. And then as I exhale, I bow with a straight back, so I'm hinging here at the hips over that front leg. Humble warrior, this often gets called. Take a breath in. As you do, sweep the arms back and lengthen the left leg. So we end up in often called a pyramid pose. It's also a intense side stretch. And we've got one more warrior. Right, here it comes. Bend a little in that left knee. Notice how my right hand came onto the chair. I'm going to push off, and I might need a couple of pushes to be like, okay, now I'm ready to be on that left leg. It's lengthened all the way. I can keep my hand on the chair, or it might be fun to bring hands to heart center or back behind me. This is our warrior three. Now we're going to transition from this right back to mountain by maybe bringing a hand to a chair. You pivot on that left hip. You land in a mountain pose. Hands come back to the heart. Just taking a breath in and out, a couple of those. Now we're going to shift our mountain pose to the right leg. Breathe in, step back onto that left foot. And first time for the right knee to go into a lunge, so a couple bends in and out. Right, and then we draw that right hip back, push from the left foot. Find the just right amount of bend. Remember, we can make this wider. And then speaking of making it wider, right, we turn to the left. We could even stretch this out, literally wider, taking the feet apart. Right, reaching through the feet, down, down, down through the feet, reaching through the hands. Let that right hand turn up. Inhale, sweep it up and over. Right, breathe out as you hold this reverse warrior. And now breathe in as you come back up to a warrior. Breathe out, sinking into your strength here. Breathe in, draw that right hip back so the right leg lengthens. Breathe out, drop into a triangle pose. Go ahead and breathe in here and out. And then next inhale, start to let the right knee bend, right hand, right forearm lands on that right leg. Left arm, it comes up and over, and it reaches here to the right side. Okay. Reach through the whole left side of the body. Next inhale, pull back with that left hand. Draw yourself up into warrior two. Go ahead and breathe out, settling into this shape. Now breathe in, step around with that back foot, settle into that warrior one, right? We breathe out as we settle in. Breathe in, we reach back. Breathe out into a humble warrior. Breathe in, you're drawing the arms back, and breathe out as you settle into this pyramid shape. Now, hand to chair, right? Breathe in, kick up onto that right leg. Left leg is extending back behind you. Hands could both reach back. You could keep one on the chair. You could bring them to the heart center. I'm going to be one on chair today. And then we're going to pivot, maybe hand to chair for that pivot, and land in a mountain pose, right? Shake anything out that has a little opinions about this practice. Pause with me for a moment. Have a little hydration break. All right. So let's go through a round of that with the breath. We're going to move with each inhale. In some cases, there's a little exhale. It's a little fast move. So we come up here, we're ready, we're in a mountain pose. I'm slightly ahead of my chair. Breathe all the way out as you shift that weight to that left leg, mountain pose. And then inhale, step back on the right leg. Exhale as you sink into that warrior one. Inhale, turn to the right, extend out into warrior two and breathe out. Left hand turns up. Inhale, sweep it up and over. Go ahead and breathe out. Inhale, bring it back up. Breathing out your warrior two. Inhale, right? We lengthen the leg and into triangle. Go ahead and breathe out. Inhale, sweep that right arm up and over into a side angle and breathe out. And inhale, back up to your warrior two. Go ahead and breathe out. Inhale to a warrior one. Okay, breathe out, settle there. Inhale, reach back. Breathe out, humble warrior. Inhale, pyramid pose. Breathe out. Inhale, warrior three. Breathing out. And inhale, mountain pose. All right, we're going to go to the other side. I just forgot to turn. There we go. Shifting, weight to the right leg. Inhale, step back onto the left leg. Breathe out, sinking into that warrior one. Inhale, extend to the left side, warrior two. Breathing out. Right hand turns up. Inhale, up and over, reverse warrior. Breathe out. Inhale, warrior two again. Breathing out. Inhale, triangle shape. And breathe out. And inhale, side angle. Breathe out here. Inhale, back, warrior two, and exhale. Inhale, step around to the front to a warrior one. Settle in there. Inhale, reach back first. And as you're breathing out, you're coming into that humble warrior. And then inhale, pyramid shape. Breathing out. Inhale, warrior three. And breathing out. And inhale, mountain pose. That kind of gets the blood moving. When we move with the breath, what I often like to do in this approach is we do one of those vinyasas very slowly and deliberately. Then we kind of speed it up. So our body, our muscle memory goes, oh yeah, I kind of remember what we're doing here. So that when we're doing it at more of a speedy approach, it feels more approachable to our bodies. I thought we'd do next a little bit of a moon salutation. So sun salutations in that warrior dance, they're a very vertical flow, right? You go up and down the mat. Moon salutations are a horizontal flow. This one uses several of the poses we have been using, so we've already got some of the familiarity for the first round. We're going to add a balancing pose on in the second round, and so to prepare for that, we're going to take our chair and turn it. Well, okay, two options here. If you are feeling a little wobbly today, you're going to leave your chair pretty much where it's at. That pretty much blocks me from the camera. But my backup, I have walls I can easily put my hands on that are within easy, right? You could see that, easy reach. So I'm going to pre-put my chair, pre-arrange it on the very right end of the mat with the seat facing me. And I'm going to put, because it's going to be a balancing pose, and I'm going to use this chair for a lot of support, right? I'm going to put all 4 feet on the mat. I want to give you all just a quick preview. We're going to do a lot of similar poses, that warrior pose, that side angle, that triangle. All of those we've done. The one we haven't done together yet today is a half moon pose. And with the chair, let me just show you real quick what it looks like. So when it comes around in the flow, you'll have a little bit of a reference. So I'm here, we'll have been in a triangle pose, right, like this. And then I'll have you bring that top arm down, bend into this knee. We don't want this foot to be under the chair. Watch how my hand on the chair slides from the edge, it's going to take me a couple, to the back, right? As I kick up this leg and I push it towards the wall, right? And land, that's what that looks like. So that's half moon. And if you kept your arm here at the edge of the chair, it would be in and it would be very narrow. But when we let it slide, it ends up under our shoulder for much better support when we do a half moon. We're going to get that to the second round. So 2 rounds. These are going to kind of be with the breath. You can see I moved over to the left end of my mat. And we're going to inhale. This one, we're going to just reach right up above us. And exhale, we're going to step out to the right side. Right? 5-pointed star is what this sometimes gets called. Breathe in here. Breathe out. Turn the feet. Flow into a triangle. Take a breath in. Now we're going to do a little something different. Exhale. Twist. Bring your left hand to that chair. Right hand comes to your right hip. A little revolve triangle here. Now we're going to open that up. Breathe in, right? Hold, breathe out. And then go ahead and come into your side angle. So you can see I bent that knee. My foot's a little close to the chair. Let me back up. Now, same here. Do a little extra. We're going to take that left arm up and behind us. Push off your right forearm. Try and lift your chest just a little bit. Do a little revolved side angle. Okay, now breathe in, pull up. There's our warrior 2. Okay. Breathe in, 5-pointed star. Go ahead and breathe out and breathe in, push really firmly out of that left side, step all the way to the right. Okay, now we're going to go to the left. Inhale, we reach up, right up above us. Exhale, step a little to the left, a 5-pointed star. Take a breath in. Notice how the feet turn, right? Right? My left feet are turning, my right foot's turning in a little bit, and I drop into a triangle pose, right? Breathe in. I forgot to say turn around. So because I forgot to put a chair here, what I'm going to do is twist, and I'm bringing this right hand around to my left leg. Left hand's coming to the hip, right? There's my revolve triangle. And then inhale, I open that up, right? And next inhale, there's my side angle. Right? Inhale, bring that back up. Warrior 2. Go ahead and breathe out. Inhale, 5-pointed star again. After you breathe out, I'm forgetting to exhale there. Inhale, step left. All right, now this time, really with chair. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, step out to the right. Big breath in. And use that exhale, starting to turn the feet to the right, arms coming down. Inhale into a triangle pose. All right, breathe out. So here is where our half moon comes. And one of the things I just did, my foot was under my chair, and that makes it a little too close. Take left hand to hip. Bend your right knee. Let your right hand start to slide on that chair back. And you might need a step or 2 in to have the momentum, then kick that left leg up. You want to flex the left foot back and push it out to the wall to the left. Push the top of your head away from your left foot. Push down through that right hand and foot. Reach up through the left arm. All right, now we're going to bend that right knee. Land, back in triangle. Right? Next inhale, side angle. Take a breath in. And out here, and then inhale, warrior 2. Right, breathe out. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale. Inhale, step to the right. Chair, so 2 options here. Pick the chair up, put it on the left side, or come back to the left side, turn around. Right? It's easier for me to see all the cameras if I do the first one, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick my chair up, bring it all the way over to the left side, make sure it is braced there, and then come back here to the right end of the mat. I'm bringing the hands into the heart center. Inhale, I reach right up above me. Exhale, I step out to the left in a 5-pointed star. Take a breath in. And, and I gotta have a sync here. Turn the feet, and next inhale, come into a triangle pose. Right? Big breath in, stretch that out. Now, half moon. So I bring my right hand down for the transition. Onto the hip. I can use that to pull the right elbow back, keep the chest turned to the long side of the mat. I've got left hand on chair, left foot pressing down. And maybe it's a couple steps in. And keep me on screen there. There we go. And I push out of that left hand and left foot. This side, because I've got the door behind me, you can see how far apart my leg and my arm are. My arm's directly under my shoulder, leg directly under my hip. I'm pushing out through my right foot. All right, now we're gonna land. Right, I bend that left knee. Right, it lands. I push back to my not my triangle. I transition. There's my half moon. Reach up and over. And now inhale. Come back to your warrior two. Breathe out. Inhale. A big 5-pointed star. Breathe out here. Whew. And inhale. Step to the left. Right, big push out of that right leg. Now our chair is handy here for doing a low downward facing dog. We're going to come down to the mat soon. So take a moment, everyone, have a hydration break. And if you've got a yoga strap, right, some kind of yoga strap, grab one of those. You could, if you do not have a yoga strap, a dog leash works, a hand towel held right on the horizontal. This can actually work for this. Bathrobe tie, any kind of non-stretchy thing. Find one of those things. We're going to come down to the floor in a moment to do some prone and supine movements from the floor. So take a moment to have a hydration break. Grab a little extra prop. All right, let's pause and while you all got your yoga props that you might need. I think actually not even might, definitely are useful to have for this next little bit. I am really definitely new to streaming, so hi and welcome. I think maybe I'm supposed to say hello as I see you join, but just forgive me for learning this and learning the protocol of doing this. We still have this chair here, right? And I have my yoga props handy and waiting and standing by, but we're going to use this chair. Remember, I was talking about forward folds earlier, and we want a safe forward fold for our back, particularly if there's any conditions we have, like osteopenia and osteoporosis, that we may have been told that a forward fold, loaded spinal flexion, is contraindicated, right? Not allowed. Right, so to come into a forward fold without making that's loaded spinal flexion, that curve in the spine. It's a folding forward. The load is our precious head up here, which in relation to our body, this weighs about as much as a bowling ball. So watch how I hinge knees and hips, drop down. See how my back stays lengthened? And then I lengthen into the back of my legs. I could have my hands flat on the chair, or if that makes your hands tender, make a soft fist with your hands and press those soft fists down, right? The knuckles down. I do that because I have had injuries in both hands, one from a fall and one due to just degeneration from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I'm just here, right? Stretching the back body. Start to bend one knee at a time and move your hips side to side really slowly. And as you do this, I want you to keep abdomen to the spine, pulling your abdomen up to your spine and reaching the tailbone back a little bit. Right? The tailbone is swinging side to side, but you're also reaching back. So we're keeping the low back really stabilized here. Right? Now pause in that side to side movement of the hips. Press down on your hands. Feel yourself like you're shrugging your shoulders. Right? Your chest will draw forward a little bit, and keep that kind of extension across the shoulders, the upper back, as you step back your feet. Knees can bend, and we come into a low version of chair downward facing dog. Right? There's lots of versions of down dog. This is actually one of my favorites. And if that swinging the hip side to side felt good, you could do that again. You could also bend your knees a little bit and try and push your hips back further. Hands, though, keep them pressing onto the chair. Shoulders shrugging down the back. It's almost like you want to push the chair to the floor and then push the chair away from you. All right, now to come down, right, I'm going to bend one knee, use the chair, come down. So the whole time we've got the back really stabilized without loading any flexion other than maybe dipping the head down. We're going to come down. I need to just dip my camera down first. We're going to come down onto our abdomen into that prone position. Here we go. Move this down with me too. Okay. Now, if you've got a yoga strap, right, that rolls up flat like this, or a bathrobe strap, a trick, a student of mine actually showed me this one time. I noticed them doing this. They would unroll this a little bit and then use it to rest their forehead on, which I thought was an excellent trick. And I just realized my awesome yoga necklace is going to bump against the mic, so I'm going to just take that off. So with the head down, curl the toes under, lift your hips up a little bit, and then bring the hips down so it feels like they're nice and even against the floor. Let the legs stretch out, and then take the arms forward. And you're going to start to elbow walk back, lifting up into a Sphinx pose. Right? And when you get into this pose, we push lightly out of the forearms, chin neutral, head neutral, and then let the abdomen and the legs and the glutes all relax a little bit. Okay, we're kind of letting the low back sink into this. And then we're going to take the elbows out, come down. I curl my toes under before I rock my hips side to side because my patella are particularly unstable joints and move around a lot. And then I'm going to lift up again onto my forearms. Now, you can walk back the hands each time and lift up gradually, or just like I did after the first round, come up to the last place you were, and then let abdomen, glutes, legs all relax a little bit. Gentle here. Take that out. Rock those hips a little side to side. We're getting just a little warm up back bend there. Lift your hips up one more time. Make sure they feel even against the floor. We're going to do a few, these like reverse sit-ups in a way. I call them cobra lift-ups because they're based on cobra pose. So I've drawn my hands back so they're really tucked under my shoulders, right? Kind of under my torso a little bit, and I've drawn my elbows back so they're tucked along the torso. I want my knees to lift, so 2 ways to do that. You can press the top of the feet down so the knees lift up. If that feels terrible or causes a foot cramp, which is a kind of feeling terrible, curl your toes under and reach back through the heels so the knees lift up. Right? Totally good option.
Once the knees are lifted, get a strong pelvic tilt down into the floor. Right? It can feel like you're reaching your tailbone towards your heels. Let yourself breathe out. And then slowly, on a count of 3, we're going to peel head, chest, and hands away from the floor. Pause a little here at the top. And then come down slowly, maybe just an inch, maybe come all the way down, tap your forehead down. Inhale, lift up. Little pause, exhale, come down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. We're going to do 2 more. Lift up and lower that on down. And lift up and lower. And then release the hands. Let the knees bend and let the feet then drop from side to side like a slow metronome. Okay, and then we're going to come up briefly into a child's pose. Well, briefly into a plank. So go ahead and set your strap off to the side. It's going to be a forearm plank. So hands pressed together, right? They can make a double fist. They can press together like that. You could do one hand around the other, right? And then, right, we curl the toes under. Forearms are pressing down. My elbows are under my shoulders. Right, take in a breath, and as you breathe out, push your heels, push your forearms, let your hips lift up. A little pause there. Keep breathing in this pause. One more breath in and out. And then push into your forearms, pull your hips up towards the sky, maybe walk the feet in a little bit. So this is a version of downward facing dog, sometimes called dolphin pose. And then we're going to let the knees come down, big toes together, knees coming out towards the sides of the mat. Okay, so child's pose, wide knee child's pose. I'm not letting my head drop down. I'm lengthening through my top of my head, keeping my face lifted, because I'm going to start walking my hands over here to the right side. And when I get here to the right, I'm going to push, bend that right elbow, push into my right hand, reach through my left hand, stretch through the side body here. And now come on back to center. Reaching through the hands, reaching the hips back to the heels. And then walk yourself on over. You kind of stack your torso on top of the thigh. I bend my left elbow so I can really push my left hand to anchor my torso and my hips as I reach through the right hand. And then back to center. And your choice here, right? Another plank or a downward facing dog. We're going to then take ourselves over onto our back. Excellent moment to pause, have a little hydration break again. We are going to be using that yoga strap once more, so grab that if it is out of your reach. Okay, and we gently roll ourselves down onto our back. Okay, make sure everything feels nice and even. You notice I've got my feet bent, hands down by the hips. Right now I don't have anything under my head, right? Because we are going to do a few bridges. Now with these bridges, right, we don't want the knees to go out. We don't want to come in. We want them to be nice and steady. It's a great way to use, you could use a block or a towel even, or a ball. But we're going to just try and focus. Push through the feet. And as you inhale, feel those hips lift up. Arms coming up and overhead. So a moving bridge. As you exhale, everything comes down. We're going to try and match arms and legs. So the arms have a much bigger movement. All right, let that come down, and for a moment, stretch both legs out. Take the arms up again. Now, this is really easy for my shoulders because, again, I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. But you can also, if that is not comfortable for your arms to go over your head, take the arms out into a T, right? Make an X instead. But if that feels good and doesn't hurt your arms or shoulders, go ahead and do that. We're going to bring the arms down, and I'm going to take just a moment to, there we go, readjust my shirt. So I'm reaching over here to the side to get a yoga strap, and there's actually, I have a whole video I'll link to when this live is over of do you need to get a yoga strap? And I show these different kinds. This is actually a name brand. I'm not an affiliate here, the OPTP stretch out strap. And I had introduced to this when I had shoulder and hand injuries. If you can see, it's made of loops, right? And what I do from an adaptive yoga perspective, because this hand has kind of a permanent injury and will eventually need surgical intervention. And this hand has lingering injury from a fracture and injuries. So I use this a lot so my hands and my thumbs don't have to try and grab the strap. But you can use anything that is not stretchy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch my legs out. I have the wrong one there. I want to get that right leg up, and I'm going to get a hold of the right knee. And here's the place. If my left hand is feeling tender, I might just use straps for both hands instead of holding the knee with my hand. But you can see I'm going to use this hand here, arm in the strap, instead of my hand. But in this case, right, I'm just starting to draw the right knee over here towards the left, and I'm making some circles. I'm going to go in both directions. And then I'm going to just pause. So I'm keeping my right hip and my low back on the ground. Let your right arm stretch out to the right. Draw that right knee up towards the left shoulder. It's not going to get there, but that's right the direction we're going. Okay, and give that right knee a squeeze into your torso. And before we do anything else, just move your ankle a few times in each direction. Point and flex your foot. And then right knee into right hand. So I could use the strap like that to kind of stabilize that right hand. We're going to stretch the left hand out. And what I'm going to do, because I'm using the strap to stabilize, is just take this strap into my left hand as I slide it out. I keep losing it. There we go. Okay. And now my right hand doesn't have to actually do this work. But I'm drawing my right knee down and up towards my armpit. Okay. And now bring that back in. Give that a squeeze. And now, if you're not already using a strap, we're going to use it now because we're going to put it along the bottom of our right foot, right along the ball of the foot, and use it. Pull that right thigh down towards your chest and torso, and then push the bottom of the right foot up. So we're in a supine dragon lunge here. And particularly if you do have low bone density, this is a way to do these deep lunges while keeping the back really stable. I am pressing my left leg down, by the way, flexing my left foot back a little bit. And now I'm going to keep pushing against the bottom of the strap, and I'm going to extend my right leg all the way up. So it ends up, for me, perpendicular right above my hip. But depending on your leg, you might be here, and that's okay. So anywhere from here towards the floor. Once you have a spot, hold the strap in both hands and draw some circles with your leg. Okay, a few times one way, not too big, a few times the other way. And then the left hand maybe comes up and gets all of the strap. I'm going to do something with my loopy strap here to save my left hand, and I'm going to loop both of them around my forearm, right? And then I'm drawing, so if I was holding both in the hands, it would look like that, right? Both sides of the strap, and we're drawing that right leg across the midline. Now, it can cross lower towards your chin. What we're looking for is a stretch through the side of the leg, through this IT band. And so sometimes we have to kind of steer up and down a little bit until we're like, oh, that's the spot. We want this back and waist on the right side to stay on the floor. Right, reaching across, I'm pushing through the right leg the whole time. Okay, now I'm going to bring that back up. Okay, I'm going to switch. I'm going to slip both sides into the right hand, or in my case, I'm slipping through the forearm. And I'm going to now bend my left knee and put the left foot on the floor. So I might draw this right leg closer to my head if that feels good. Get a really deep hamstring stretch there. Push up through the right heel. Pull the foot back towards your face a little bit more so the bottom of the foot gets a stretch. And then push that right foot out to the right as you extend left knee out to the left and left arm out to the left. Press the back body to the floor. Right leg is reaching out and up towards the right armpit, not towards the floor. Right? And then coming back up. Now, this is kind of a tricky thing I do here. You got the strap, one side in each hand. I take and I slip it. I'm using my foot there. I slip it to the front. See that? It's along the front of my left leg, just underneath the knee. Okay? And right ankle crosses onto that left leg. And I'm going to slip this once more into my forearms instead of my hands. All right, so I've got the strap like that. And I'm not lifting up. I just have the strap around the left leg. I'm pressing out of the left foot so my back stays really anchored to the floor. And can you see, right? I think the tie-dye is helping. I am doing an external rotation of my right hip. I'm reaching that right knee away from me. Try and keep some of that reaching away from you as you now pull on the strap that's around that left leg, right? And lift the left leg off the floor. So left leg can just relax here in the strap. I've got my hands up here, but I've got the strap looped around my upper arms in this case. And once we pull the leg up, I think it feels really good to rock a little bit in this. Figure 4 is what this is called. Particularly when you use a strap, you can use these circles to help move things around. The strap, I really called out for hand injuries, but the other reason I use the strap when I work with people, particularly with people with low bone density, is that when we use our hands, we tend to curl up away from the floor into loaded spinal flexion. When we use the strap, we keep our back flat on the floor, and we're using the strength of our upper body to pull on the strap to bring the legs up. All right, so we've been there a while. Let that go. And you're going to slide that right leg over the left leg and drop both knees over here to the left side. Now, if that feels like way too much on your hips, go ahead and stretch that left leg out, draw the right knee up again. And remember this one from the beginning, right? Roll into it. Roll up onto the left leg and take that right knee over to the left. If there's a stretch, a twist particularly, you like more than either of those, right, go ahead and whichever supine twist feels good. My right arm, this is a big stretch for the shoulder. If your shoulder's really feeling that, bend the right elbow, just rest the right hand here on the ribs. Let your elbow reach towards the floor, but that will stabilize your shoulder more. You can have that arm stretched out if it feels okay to the shoulder. Now, coming out of this, If your right arm is extended, bend the elbow and then roll towards the left side. Untangle yourself from this. Come onto your back. Oh, stretch into a full body stretch. Right. And then we're going to hug the left knee in. Actually, take just a moment. Notice the difference between that right and left side. Isn't that great? Let's make the left side a little longer. So I'm going to quick even my back out after that twist. Then here comes that left knee. Right, I'm drawing it up, taking it to the right hand, drawing it over the midline. I might extend my left arm out to the left. Pause here just a little moment. This is definitely kind of a warm up. Although if all you have time for and you don't want to find your yoga strap is doing this with just the hands, this is like the great one to do in bed. Just using the hands. Right, hug that left knee up towards your torso again. Right, take the knee into the left hand, draw it out and up towards the left armpit. Reach out through your right leg while you do this. Reach out through the right arm. Okay, bring that left knee up and in. And here, I'm saying we're using the strap. If you were doing this without a strap, hand can come behind the back of the leg and you push the foot up. It's just a little easier to do it with a strap along the bottom of the foot. Right, reaching it up. You're drawing the thigh towards the torso, bringing the low leg up, pushing up through the foot. And then we let that leg, wrong one, fully extend. Here we go. I needed the side with some length. Pushing up through the left foot, lengthening through the left leg. And we might be closer to the floor or right above the hip. Both work. Once we have that just right amount, we draw a few circles. They're not very big, with the whole leg here, moving in each direction. Okay, then the strap goes over to the right hand, both sides. And I draw my left arm out to the left. And my left leg pushes over to the right. And I don't have to be coming as high as I can across the hip. You might even notice I actually am a little lower over my thigh here when I do crossover, because it's getting to a different spot of a better spot of the IT band. This is where one of my physical therapists, the therapist on Tuesday, was commenting how tight my IT band was. Again. Okay, now push against the strap to come up. All right, we bring that up. Bend the right knee, put the right foot on the floor. And I am going to get both sides of the strap into my left hand. I push my leg out and up to the left. Right knee goes out to the right. Right arm goes out to the right. Reach that left leg. And remember, leg is going up and out. This is hand to big toe. So think about, you would be trying to reach your hand to the big toe, but the strap does a lot of that work for us. So I don't have to try and get the leg to the floor at any point. Okay, now push against the strap. The knee comes up, the leg comes up. I flex the foot back and I reach up through the heel, really getting a stretch for the bottom of the foot and the Achilles tendon. If you want a deeper hamstring stretch, those are the big muscles of the back of the thigh. You pull the leg towards you a little bit, or not. And then here's this trick I do with the strap. I use my leg to help bring the strap down around the bottom of the knee and the front of that right leg. Right? I then cross my left ankle onto my right thigh. I'm getting that strap into both hands, kind of ahead of time, or upper arms in my case. And as I'm doing that with a strap, I am flexing back that left foot and reaching my left knee away a little bit. I'm also pushing out of the right foot to keep my back on the ground so I don't start to tip to the left as I do this. Try and keep the left knee reaching out a little bit. And we pull on the strap and draw that right leg up off the ground. And once it comes up, remember you can rock a little bit if it feels like it helps loosen up, or in my case, it feels sometimes like it's bunchy underneath my back, like the muscles and the fascia are bunchy. So that rocking feels like things even out. Circling feels like it loosens things up a little bit. So I really like to use the strap to both take the pressure off my hands, but also the pressure off my back, and to really use it to move that lifting leg around a lot. All right, so we come out of our figure four, the right foot comes down, and I'm suggesting that left leg crosses over and then the legs drop over. In Kripalu yoga, they call it a morning star twist. But if it doesn't feel good, right, do a different twist. This one does put a lot of pressure on the hip joints to do that cross leg and then down. So this might feel better. Just drawing that leg, one leg across, the other leg stretched out. You could even, I didn't show this on the other side, but you could bring both knees in, drop them over together in a very gentle twist. I think on this side, I'm actually going to come back to this one. Feels like the right one for this hip today. And then let that left elbow bend if the arm's extended. Roll a little to the right. Roll into your twist to release it. And then come to a full body stretch. And let yourself resettle your body. Maybe get some support for the back of your head. If you feel like you are starting to cool off, grab something to help you warm up. Let yourself just settle into rest for a few moments. The last posture in a yoga practice is a practice of rest, right? Shavasana, or corpse pose. And what we're doing here is, we call it a rest practice, but why it is vitally important is this is where we integrate the practice we've just done. So here, again, if your mind is really agitated still, don't close your eyes for the rest practice. Just leave them open. Just gaze upwards and not focus on anything at all. If you're feeling at ease, not too sleepy, let your eyes close for a moment. Let yourself rest here. And you're feeling the whole body resting. Reconnect to that wisdom self. Non-judging awareness. And then let that awareness flow from head down past each fingertip and thumb to each and every toe. How does this body feel right in this moment? How has it changed the sensations of your body from the first time you did this check-in? What is different about the physical body after a movement practice? I check in with the energetic body, and what is your energy level now? You've expended energy on a movement practice, so what are you feeling now? Some people feel energized after a practice, but maybe you feel tired. I just acknowledge the heart mind. Not that we're checking in deeply, but just acknowledging what is arising here. And encouraging this heart mind self to just rest for a moment. Now see that the whole self is resting here. The physical body is resting. Your nervous system is shifted into that mend and befriend mode of the parasympathetic nervous system. And the heart mind is maybe a little more at ease. The wisdom self is this effortless awareness that doesn't really need to rest. It's just here, noting what is arising. So that the rest of yourself can rest. The heart mind can rest. The body can settle into the feeling of the earth supporting it. The whole self is resting. Your whole self is resting. As you finish resting there, I'm going to just chant the mantra of wholeness for you to finish our practice. Let yourself just feel your essential, unchanging wholeness, which is what this mantra reminds us of. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. Thank you for joining me for this practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. Brought a little energy and a little energy and soothing to your day, a little of each. And next Thursday, I will not have a live practice, but I will 2 weeks from now be back. I will be doing a yoga in chairs practice probably that day. Look forward to joining with you all soon. And yeah, take a moment, join the channel. You can subscribe to my newsletter. There's a link there. Add a little like, add a little comment. I always love to hear from people. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.